Or so, as the music plays, we invite you to just relax, close your eyes, rest in the presence, and hold space.
Kam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Kam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Kam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. Kam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Suklambaradharam Vishnu Sasivarnam Chaturvujam Prasannavadaram Kam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari. Kam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Kam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Kam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Kam Ganapataye
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online global satsang. Global because we have people join us from all over the world, from other nations and other continents. We sometimes have people join us from Australia and Japan, and that's about as far around the planet as you can get, I think. And we call it an online satsang because guess what? Here we are. We're glad you're here too. It's one of the positive uses of the internet is for us to connect. When we join together on our journey of awakening and transformation, our strength, our individual strength is multiplied exponentially. Spiritual community with others that you can resonate with is an essential piece of the spiritual journey. We probably have more in common with each other, with others who are in the process of awakening, the flowering of the heart and oneness with the divine, than with so many people in our own traditions, our own backgrounds. And that's one of the interesting parts of the Flowering Heart Satsang. We come from different teachers, different teachings, different spiritual backgrounds and belief systems, but we all share the journey of awakening. We're so glad you're here tonight. It's so important that the world shift. I don't think anyone needs any convincing when we look around. What we might not understand is how powerful positive consciousness is. A single awakened being like the Buddha, a single being in union with God like Jesus, sends out waves through the collective consciousness that never stop, that are so much more powerful than the negative energy, which is why throughout history, when there have been way showers, light givers who have arisen, whether it's someone great like Christ or Buddha or Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr., anyone who challenges the status quo and challenges us to grow, to expand, has been assassinated throughout history. Most people don't realize Buddha was poisoned in his old age. So on it went for so long. Now there are just too many people who are awakening and awakened to possibly stop it. And as we're awakening, those ripples of positive light and consciousness are going out through the collective, contaging others. It's the most contagious thing on earth is awakening consciousness. So that's why you're here. Glad you're here. We share throughout the webcast something called the Flowering Heart Blessing. It's a direct transmission of divine presence, awakened consciousness, unconditional love and grace. A gift from the divine that catalyzes in the receiver the process of awakening. If you're already in that process, and you probably are, you wouldn't be here, it dissolves blocks and barriers and sort of lubricates and speeds up the journey. If you're already an awakened being, it takes you deeper because awakening is not a destination. It's an endless journey of expansion, and there's more. So the Flowering Heart Blessing catalyzes and graces all of that. It was given to us about 10 years ago. Suzanne and I have been working with other transmissions of spiritual energy and grace for decades. For me, practically my whole life, and it's been, well, I've been around a long time. But about 10 years ago, the Divine said, start to share this, and we felt this light just flood us, and our spiritual hearts just explode like a star going supernova. The Divine said, give that to people, and don't charge for it. And let them know when they receive it, they're initiated to be able to give it. So if you resonate with the presence and the energy that you're feeling here tonight, just invite the Divine to pour the Flowering Heart Blessing through you and feel what happens. But please join us in holding an intention to send the Flowering Heart Blessing to everyone who joins us here tonight and to whoever watches this recording in the future. Because transmissions like the Flowering Heart Blessing are spirit. We often refer to energy, but it's really beyond energy. It's pure spirit. And spirit is unbounded by time or space. Spirit is always fully here right now. So if you're watching this recording 10 years after we made it, you'll be feeling the same presence that we're all sharing here tonight. And, oh yeah, please give us, if you're on Facebook Live, a heart, a thumbs up, or some other emoji that expresses your feelings about being here tonight. And we always go in at the end and in the week between this Monday and next Monday, because we have many times more people that watch during the week. From one Monday to the next because of their schedule or where they are in the world. And if you do give us a like or a love, we at the end send you a little extra blessing and a hug. If you're on Vimeo, please leave a comment in the chat and give your name, because sometimes someone will be like, Star Child says hi. Well, okay, we'll send you love and a blessing, but if you say, Star Child, oh, Bob here, hi, then we know who we're sending the blessing to, and that's really nice. Other announcements? I don't think we have right now. Wow, it has been such a 6 weeks for us. Between the last week of April and the middle of June, we have so many birthdays in our family. Tells you what our relatives were doing back in August. But having a good time in late summer. But we have all these, so many Tauruses in the family, and a few Gemini as well. So we're just, I was going to say getting through, but I almost said we're just getting over it. 'Cause that's a lot of parties. And I see that Robert Reister's with us, and your granddaughter's 14th birthday is today. You codger, you. Our granddaughter is only 3. Yeah.
We had to wait a while.
We had to wait a long time. Rob's got a whole tribe. He's got a clan.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And glad you're here. Yes, and Daniel Bruce Levin, my divine brother, is here, who speaks to me from between the words, where there is unbounded space and silence of our true nature. During these broadcasts, I talk a lot, but I really don't talk this much all the time, only when I'm, doing something like this. So, let's see. Rob says, I've been a slacker. Well, I'm sure we've all been a slacker once or twice. Ekaterina writes, thanks for your prayers. Everything fell into place, and a couple of human angels helped me to get the show I had in Pachuca, that is far from Mexico City. I felt the hand of God, so I am very grateful.
Beautiful.
We're very grateful with you. That's
nice.
Lovely.
That is lovely.
Ekaterina is an actor in Mexico. And anyway, much love. Let's see. And Julio says, hello, dearest Michael and Suzanne.
Well, and good job to you, Ekaterina, for asking for prayer and for receiving it, because we play our part in the dance with the divine. So thank you.
James, the brother of Jesus, says we have not because we ask not. And when we ask and don't get it, it's because our motive's all screwed up so that we can just spend it on ourselves. But when our motive is coming from the heart, as yours is, and we ask, we receive. Julio writes, hello, dearest Michael and Suzanne. Some of my ancestors have been buried and others have been cremated. In some of those cases, decisions have been taken based on cultural backgrounds, while in others due to practical reasons. Now, I recently heard this goes on. I'm going to come back to this in a few minutes after we go to the quotes. Yes. Well, we'll come back to that.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah. And Mike Davis. Wow, this is like a
of your
little
old
reunion.
buds.
Old friends from different phases of life. Mike was an associate pastor in my first church, and I got an email from Hillary 2 days ago, who said it was the 39th anniversary of some event that took place that involved me so many years ago. Made me feel old. And young, too. We go way back, Mike. Glad to have you with us. Okay, so, wow, this is awesome. And Danny was like my best friend in college, and he had a little red convertible Carmen Ghia. And we would cruise the mountains outside of Pomona sometimes after classes and just have such amazing times in the presence of God. And we've both gone on and through so many experiences. I went to look for him at the Diaspora Yeshiva in Jerusalem, which is the yeshiva. It's the school for aspiring Orthodox rabbis. He wasn't there, but I almost got killed, but that's another story. Wow. Yeah, all right. Well, we open it to questions and answers on the spiritual journey. So anything you'd like more light or some clarity, just throw it out there and it'll help everyone, because even though our journeys are different, they do in some ways parallel each other. And most of us go through similar experiences at some point along the way. And so your question, your curiosity will help everyone. One of the quotes we used, I think, last week was from Einstein, where he said, "I don't have any special gifts. I'm just passionately curious." So to give you time to think about what questions you might throw at us to nudge the divine who will give us inspiration, I'm going to read 11 heartfelt quotes to help you apologize. I'm sorry. I'll start with apologizing for that, but no, not really. This is our friend, these authors at inspiringquotes.com. You get familiar with their names over the months and the years, because there's certain ones that really resonate with us. And this is Paula Bennett, a writer based in Brooklyn, New York. She writes a fortnightly newsletter that treasures the mundane, called Small Histories. Find her on Instagram at Paula Bennett, hashtag Paula Bennett. So here we go. Here's what Paula writes. Most of us get along with the people around us, most of the time. But every so often a conversation or situation can go sideways. An argument blooms, or feelings get hurt. Conflict and disagreements are natural parts of connecting with other people. So it's important for us to know how to handle these fraught moments. And a crucial part of working through any clash is to acknowledge the hurt between us and the other person, often through an apology. It can be difficult to apologize when we're feeling wounded or angry. But if we had a part in the breakdown, it's important to also do our part to reach out, even if it feels embarrassing or awkward or means swallowing our pride. According to a 2020 study, the presence of an apology makes it much more likely that the relationship can be repaired. Really, apologizing is an expression of affection. We're telling that person that we care more about them than some temporary discomfort. To help set you on the right path, we've collected quotes about the importance of apologies and what constitutes a sincere one. Hopefully they can help you build your relationships to become even stronger. There we go. I have learned to accept my responsibility and to forgive myself first, then to apologize to anyone injured by my misreckoning. Maya Angelou. A stiff apology is a second insult. The injured party does not want to be compensated because he has been wronged. He wants to be healed because he's been hurt. G.K. Chesterton. An apology offered, and equally important, received, is a step towards reconciliation and sometimes recompense. Without that process, hurts can rankle and fester and erupt into their own hatreds and wrongdoings. Margaret Macmillan. An apology is the super glue of life. It can repair just about anything. Lynn Johnson. It's more than saying sorry, it's meaning it. It's letting the apology change things. But an apology is where it has to begin. Neil Gaiman. I've treated you unkindly, can't you see? Oh, there's no one more important to me. So, darling, won't you please see through me? Leon Russell.
Sounds like lyrics.
It was.
Yeah.
Apology is a lovely perfume. It can transform the clumsiest moment into a gracious gift. Margaret Lee Runbeck. Sorry doesn't take things back, but it pushes things forward. It bridges the gap. Sorry is a sacrament. It's an offering, a gift. Craig Silvey.
I like that.
Too. I'm sorry. 2 words I always think. After you've gone, when I realize I was acting all wrong. Feist. Mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. Bruce Lee. It's always best to ask for forgiveness if you feel that you made a mistake. And again, asking for forgiveness is not just saying the words, I'm sorry. It's also offering what you need to do. Grace Poe.
Nice.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, I had a friend that every time I said I'm sorry, they would say, sorry doesn't make it better. But it can move things forward. And I was noticing that sometimes here it talks about asking for forgiveness, and sometimes, mostly it was talking about expressing, I'm sorry. You know, there's a difference, I think, between asking for forgiveness and saying I'm sorry. Even if you can't forgive me at this point. If I'm asking for forgiveness, that's for me because I want to feel better. Please forgive me. I feel so terrible. I need your forgiveness. Well, what I need to do is express to you that I'm so sorry that I hurt you. Maybe it was intentional, maybe it was clumsy, maybe it was an accident, but I care about you and I'm sorry you were hurt. The other side of that, forgiveness, that's up to you. It's up to us to make that first step of expressing unconditionally our sorrow for having hurt our friend, our loved one. More often than not, that does lead to forgiveness, but sometimes we rush to people because we feel guilty, we feel bad about ourselves. That's why Maya Angelou at the beginning said, I start by forgiving myself. And then I ask forgiveness from those who have been hurt by my misconception. Anyway, lovely stuff. Want to add anything?
No, it just makes me laugh because when we were having really big processes here, we used the parking lot of an office building that was mostly vacant behind us, and we never asked them for permission. We'd always say it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. But that doesn't translate well to many things in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Robert Reister responds, I don't want to, or apologize to anyone. And says, when 43 years of infidelity and the death of 2 children, it is hard to forgive. Understood. Yeah.
The thing we've come to realize, though, is unforgiveness is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It's just holding our spiritual soul back a notch. And that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I understand that. But the deeper that we can go in releasing that in forgiveness, the more peace we have and the more freedom we have.
I mean, yeah, what she said. But another quote that I could only paraphrase, I don't remember who said it, it was another article that I didn't share tonight, says that empathy is not agreement. To understand, to have empathy, compassion, forgiveness toward another person in no way means that I approve of what they did. Mm-hmm. I mean, I run into some old friends, there are fewer and fewer of them still alive, who endured the Holocaust. Mostly Jewish, but wasn't just Jews that were wronged in the Holocaust, but who have found the ability to forgive, not to forget. I mean, some things you don't forget, you know. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, what is it? Shame on me. Yeah, so we need to learn, and you don't turn your back on a ruthless enemy, but we don't need to hold rancor in our hearts that just poisons us. The fact is that what they may have done that hurt you, that's a weight they're carrying that if I could be completely objective without any approval at all, I would feel sorry for them, feel compassion for them, because they've hurt my beloved friend, but they've also hurt themselves and the family. Forgiveness is an interesting thing. I learned way back in seminary and Bible school days, forgiveness is something you forgive. You give before you feel it. You don't feel like it, but you give it. Well, you know, over the years, that wasn't enough of an answer. And because I realized that I had forgiven people for things that really hurt me, but every time their name came up, I remembered what they did that hurt me. And every time I saw them in the grocery store, I'd want to duck, you know, beneath the rows, because something on the inside of me still hurt. And one of our teachers in India said that actually, for unforgiveness comes from a sense of hurt that we're carrying. And so to forgive someone mentally while you're still carrying that deep emotional pain of hurt is not absolutely integral. I thought it was very sincere and generous to forgive someone that I hadn't really forgiven. But then I came to realize I was still carrying the pain, so we learned that the solution is to face your pain. All psychological pain is resistance to feeling something in the present moment. There is stuff I don't want to feel that hurt me so much. And if I rehearse that story, if I reflect on it, I can sometimes feel that pain. That means there's still work being done. Because the pain isn't, that event is long past. It's my resistance to it. My resistance to feeling that pain that causes me to suffer. So maybe I should say the root of psychological suffering is resistance to feeling the pain. So we learned to not turn away from it, to face it square on and embrace it, and just allow ourselves to feel the unthinkable, the unfeelable, and just feel it until the charge, the emotional charge, discharges. And then you can look at it with your mind, with your memory, but there's no charge. There may be still a deep sense of wrong done, which legitimately would lead you to not want anything to do with that person in the future. But you could be free from the suffering that's brought on by the emotional charge without forgetting, without, saying nothing happened, without whitewashing the situation. You can't do that any more than our friends who went through the Holocaust could do that. But we can, our hearts can be free. And I know what I'm saying is a tall order, it really is. But it can be done. And I've done that work personally within myself to great advantage, great help. And it's sort of like peeling the layers of an onion. It goes on.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from too. We've been having issues with a family member and who we recently found out, which I can't believe I didn't see this earlier, has borderline personality disorder and is
People don't even know what that is.
Yeah, but wreaking havoc with the family, very manipulative, and he also is narcissistic too. So anyway, we were with the kids the other day, last Tuesday, for a double birthday party, and we were just processing our feelings about the whole situation. And I said, you could love somebody unconditionally without liking them or without having to have them in your life. And so that's been a large part of my spiritual process. Literally the last 20 years is processing my relationship with this person and the effect he's had on other family members. So he popped in today, and I had a charge come up, and I handled it firmly, but probably not as well as I could have. So I'm still working on it too. That's a hard one. But I do see that I will be freer and I will feel better if it ever comes up again, or there's situations where I'm confronted with him, that I could, have that compassion without engaging, without having a charge and a reaction, because that hurts me, didn't hurt him at all. So we've got to acknowledge our feelings exactly where they are, right there in the moment, but at the same time we can always work for healing and letting go and forgiveness at a deeper level without having to engage with the person at all.
So you said, and rightly so, it's hard to forgive. And for just a moment there, I was having an image of Christ in his suffering, saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Well, on one level, they knew what they were doing. It was violent and horrible. But they had no idea the depths of the pain and the harm that was being inflicted. So forgiveness is not an easy thing, but it's a very important thing. It was Jesus himself who said, pray this way, Father, forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us. with the same measure of judgment that you mete out, it will be measured to you again. And while there have been brief moments of lunacy in my life where maybe I didn't think that I had any judgment coming in my direction, it's very important. And just in terms of the spiritual law of karma, that you sow what you reap. When we wish that someone will reap the repercussions, the karma of the seeds they have sown, basically we're saying, I want that too for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, I would like mercy and grace. I haven't been perfect. I've tried most of the time, but I've definitely slipped at points in my life, and so I need to look with mercy on others. Jesus said, why do you look at the splinter in your brother's eye when there's a beam sticking in your eye? Deal first with the beam in your eye, and I know this, I'm not, again, making light of the painful things that may have been done for us. And Michael Christopher takes it just a notch farther. He writes, praying for that the person who harmed you gets love and forgiveness is a healing salve for your heart. But that has to be sincere too.
Right.
And when you're in so much pain, it's very difficult to pray for that person that has caused such harm to you that they'll receive, love and forgiveness and all that. You're not feeling it, but it's true. If you can, pray for that person and realize that, we're reading this American living saint, Peace Pilgrim, and she describes the way she feels about horrible people, violent people, murderous people, people that intended her harm, and she said, I felt no judgment at all. I felt sad for them and compassion. It's their immaturity. They don't see the bigger picture, They go, wow.
It was something to aspire to.
Indeed. So you got to just start where you are. And where you are is still feeling the pain, the sting of all of that. Then feel it without resistance until it discharges. And the memory will be there with the sharp horror of it, but not with the suffering that it triggers. We've talked about this before, but Michael goes on, actually, it's been my experience, even if you don't mean it at first, the praying allows the divine to work on your heart. That's true. That's why Jesus slipped it in the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Certainly, that prayer has been uttered gajillions of times by people that didn't fully mean it. But that little part, forgive us as we forgive them. That's the thing. Yeah, the mindful part, Robert writes, I understand. The mindful part is the hard part. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that too a lot this last week, still processing what we were discussing with the kids about how if there has been a trauma or you're not able to forgive or you're, really resentful of somebody or some situation, that every time you mull it over in your head, you're recreating the story and you're recreating the charge. And so, it's really a process of asking for the grace to release that charge. And when it comes up in your head, try not to mull over it, sink back into your heart and send prayers and ask for grace, because the mind is going to hold on to that story and it's just going to keep recreating it. And ultimately that can lead to health imbalances and disease and, high cortisol levels. There's so many things. Our bodies can get thrown out of balance when we're steeping in judgment, resentment, and criticism. So the more that we can break free from that, there's actually, health benefits to it.
Well, for sure, and the mind is a tricky wicket.
It is.
And we can't control what has happened and the impact, but we do have control over where we direct our attention in our thought life. As Suzanne said, to dwell on the story can actually renew the charge around it.
It keeps looping and looping and looping and looping. And
so one of, in the art of overcoming suffering that we spent so much time learning about in India was to drop the story. Now, that doesn't mean forget it. It means don't dwell on it, what Suzanne said.
yeah.
One of the monks said, we told you to stay with the pain, face the pain, embrace the pain, don't wallow in the stuff. So there's
not helpful.
There's a fine line. And the mind would like to help us stay stuck. But we do have some choice. I mean, Jesus said, if your eye is single, your body will be filled with light. And sometimes it's like, I see this conscious choice. Do I keep focusing on this thing that's making me feel miserable? Or do I focus on what's giving me life and light and peace? And I can do that without forgetting the other stuff. But boy, wouldn't it be nice to forget some?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Julio's question?
Oh, we'll get right back to that. Anyway, Rob, his follow-up is, we heard that a lot at St. Alfred's. We grew up in the same church under the same priest who is Robert's father and my dad's best friend, a great, great man. We heard a lot about what we've been talking about at St. Alfred's. It just didn't soak in enough.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, my dear friend, it's not too late. Okay. Back to Julio's question, if you're still here, hope. Hello, dearest Michael and Suzanne. Some of my ancestors have been buried and others have been cremated. In some of those cases, decisions have been taken based on cultural background, while in others due to practical reasons. Now, I recently heard that some religious traditions, not my family's, prohibit cremation based on the belief that the destruction of the body may difficult the journey of the soul after death. Some even believe that at some point all bodies will be resurrected, thus making cremation unviable. So for them, burial is the way to go. However, other cultures, including some of the ones where reincarnation is deeply rooted in their spiritual tradition, religious beliefs, see no problem with this and have cremation as their regular procedure. Can you talk a little about the spiritual aspects of these two approaches, which at first glances seem to be contradictory? Thank you so much. Lots of love, light, and blessings to all. Okay. I think when you leave your body, you could care less. The ones who seem to care are the ones we leave behind, our loved ones. And there was a long belief in the Western Christian tradition, the Catholic and Orthodox tradition, and the Protestant churches came out of the Western Catholic tradition, that believed it was important to be buried physically so that when Christ returns, there's a body to be resurrected. But Paul said, St. Paul, who wrote 2/3 of the New Testament, you fool. The body that is resurrected is not the same as the body that is buried in the earth. There's a physical body and there's a spiritual body. I mean, God knows where every atom is in your body. So if God, for some weird reason, needed all the atoms and molecules that make up your current body to resurrect you, all God would have to do is, and all of those atoms from wherever they are in the universe could be brought together. But see, that's not necessary. Even in the old school ideas about death, they would talk about cutting the silver cord. In dreams and astral travel and spiritual travel, people would experience sometimes being out of their bodies connected with this long silver tether cord. And as long as that cord wasn't cut, you were cool. But if the cord was cut, you couldn't get back to your body. Well, I think that alone tells us that the body's optional. But so we should honor, I think, people's traditions and beliefs. And a lot of what we do in the rituals after death are for the family, for the community. part of it is for the one that's just departed. If they died in an accident or unexpectedly, some souls don't know they're gone. And the rituals that we do after their passing can help them to realize, oh, wow, that's why they're not seeing me, and to let go and move on. So the Catholic Church has changed its stance. Well, probably burial might be preferred by many Catholics still. The Church does not condemn cremation anymore. There's an understanding's going on. When the Spanish conquered the Incas in Peru, the last Inca king was given a choice: convert to Roman Catholicism, and we will kill you in a decent way and you can go to heaven. If you refuse to convert, we will cremate your body and you will go to hell. He thought about it and decided to convert. He converted. They went ahead and executed and cremated him, broke their word. Oof. So I'm so glad that's not like a real spiritual law. God's laws are maybe immutable, but that's not. So honor people's local traditions and cultural values, but where we can, help to liberate them. I've done open casket funerals in Latin America, where I've stood right there over the loved one's body and said, Manuel is not here. Manuel is with us, bearing witness to this celebration and time of grieving and loving you all, but this body was his earth suit, and he doesn't need it anymore. But he's still the same person and still quite alive. So, anything you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. Well, feel free.
I was just reflecting on my own experience. The first person that had passed that I saw, there was, where you could view the body, and it was my father. I was 16, and I remembered going in the room and seeing it, and I was like, this isn't my dad. he's not here, and I could feel that. And if it was him, I would have gotten a big hug and would have made a joke or something, it would have. But I didn't feel that he was there with the body anymore, but I did feel his presence. So that was my first experience with that.
There are some religious traditions that will not allow embalming, for instance. They consider that like a defiling of the body. And in some Orthodox religious traditions, Orthodox Judaism, and certainly I think in many cases, if not all, in Islam, the burial should be performed within 2 days after the death, with no defiling of the body, none of that.
And then some say 72 hours,
Well, that's a Buddhist thing. And a priest will sit with the body until he can feel that the spirit is actually left. And but in these traditions that say that embalming defiles the body and the burial should take place, well, because there's no embalming, needs to happen quickly, we should honor that and respect it, and whether that's our belief or not.
And then there are cultures in Asia that the funeral is a grand party, and so families will tend to the body of the deceased for even up to a year or more until they can collect enough money to have the kind of send-off that they would want for their family members.
Which renders one room of your house pretty weird for a while.
I wonder if they have special oils or herbs or something.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got it down.
Yeah, but still, okay. Well, Huineng, the sixth patriarch of Zen, great Zen master Huineng, he passed in meditation, sitting on his meditation cushion, and to this day his body still sits in meditation on his cushion, incorruptible. They're not going to mess with it or move it. They're not going to touch it. I mean, interesting things. But believe me, when we're free of this earthly body, we're free.
We're free.
And So we should pray that people are set free and can let go of their earthly concerns when they pass. It's okay, we can carry on for you. We're really going to miss you, but look toward the light. Take flight, my loved one. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes. And open your heart and just receive the flowering heart blessing that is pouring out to you and within you right now. You're not a drop of the ocean of God. You are the entire ocean of God in a drop. Rumi, the great mystic, penned that. God lives within you as your essence, at the center of your being, and loves you just as you are, unconditionally. Receive the grace of the omnipotent, all-knowing, all-wise, all-loving divine presence within you. It will draw you, the divine will draw you into oneness with itself if you just consent and let go. It's a gift of grace. Receive the love that is pouring out to you, to illuminate your spirit, to clear and to heal your soul, the painful memories and emotions, feelings, thoughts. Flood your soul with divine inspiration, God-birth thoughts and feelings and plans. Receive this grace in your body to dissolve and release all the blocks of dis-ease and pain. Receive it in your relationships to heal them and set them right. Just let the presence shine through you from the center of your heart out through every layer of your life into the world around you. As ripples going out through the human family and to infinity. Just allow and receive the grace. Breathe it in. Drink it in. Soak it up. Keep receiving. just a few moments, let us envision Los Angeles and the crisis that's been unfolding there, and send peace, peace, and to the Middle East, peace, peace. And to Eastern Europe, to all of humanity, let us invite the divine to melt the hurt, the pain, the anger, the hatred from all human hearts throughout the earth. Peace on earth. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, when you're ready, open your eyes. Begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and Orleen. Just keep gazing at least one of our eyes as the light meditation begins. In this meditation, our eyes stay wide open, and we're flooded with oceans of love and light and grace that floods through every pore of our being to you, especially through our eyes, the windows of the soul. As you just keep looking, that's all you need to do. Look and receive. The light shines out through our eyes, in through your eyes, into your heart of hearts. Cause the light of awakening and the love of the divine to burn brighter and brighter within you. practice with me. Now keep meditating as long as you feel like it. Or lie down nearby in Shavasana. Shavasana is a pose where you lie comfortably on your back with your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides with your palms open, turned upward. And just let yourself dissolve with gratitude in the presence. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine within you. And we bow to you.
Namaste.
Namaste.